Let's rock. Oh, let's do it this way. Much better. So today it's now Friday. It's Friday morning because we are now past noon. And I am going to be heading on vacation for 2 weeks, and my flight is in roughly 6 hours. And as you can see, I have not packed yet, so come pack with me. Put our shoes here, and we're going to use packing cubes for everything else. My name is Thomas, and welcome to my channel. And in 2025, I am on sabbatical, and on my channel, I share my thoughts, ideas, and experiences on life. If you are wondering, I don't think you really need to wonder, but I am not exactly a type A person. For those who don't know, a type A person is someone who's really organized. People who are type A probably are never in a situation like this where they are packing for a 2-week vacation the night before they leave. So clearly I am a type B person. And what this made me think about was I was talking to someone a few months ago. They just started chatting, and they had asked me, what is your toxic trait? And I thought that was a really interesting question because, one, I love it when people get real and just get right down to it and just come out and ask, like what's wrong with you? I really like that. So I take no offense at that. But secondly, it did make me think about, like, what is my toxic trait? Like, what can I tell someone that you barely know, that I barely know? That's something that would be true about me that's sort of a toxic trait or a bad trait. To be clear, I don't think I have toxic traits, because that would mean that you're essentially a toxic person. And I don't think I am a toxic person, but who knows, maybe I am. I think one thing that people can definitely point to as a potential toxic trait is that I am pretty straightforward. And I think one thing that I would readily admit is that I am a pretty straightforward person. I generally call it like it is and tell people how I feel. And sometimes that can get me into trouble because not everyone appreciates that kind of candor. I don't try to be outright mean. I don't think I'm a mean-spirited person, but there are people who don't take well to you pointing out something that might be true. But I don't think that's like a toxic trait, and that's not what this video is about. Found them. I think there are certainly people who would be panicking if they were not packed for a 2-week vacation. Well, not even the night before. It's now 6 hours away. But me, I'm just not someone who's really too worried about stuff like that. And this is arguably small stuff. I'm gonna pack stuff. You know what? Worst case scenario, if I forget something, I can just pick it up wherever I go. And I think there's definitely an element to that. For me, I definitely could afford to pick up whatever I need wherever I go, whether it's missing some clothing or whatever it is. It's not a big deal. I can afford to buy it. But the other part is I just don't really need much. As like a single guy, I got t-shirts here, a pair of jeans, some shorts. Like, there's just not much I need. But even outside of this specific scenario, which is packing stuff, I guess you could say that one of my toxic traits is that I just don't really worry that much about stuff. Like, I just always feel like things will just sort of work out. And I don't just mean like packing clothes. Like, I mean, that's like not that big of a deal, right? I mean, like even bigger things in life, like a job, a career, even like something like maybe finding a partner. Oh, this is loose. I can pack some more. So, for example, a few years ago, my early 30s, when I was transitioning careers and I was working in retail, literally making minimum wage. And I was doing some freelancing in terms of marketing, but I honestly wasn't doing that much. And I didn't really have anything on the horizon. But my attitude overall was still like, yeah, it'll probably work out. You know, something will come along. I'll just figure out something else. I'll try, this thing, take courses, do this, do freelancing. I just always figured it would work out. And it did work out. I eventually got into a career accelerator, which gave me the opportunity to get into ad tech and big tech, and then eventually ended up working at Facebook, Amazon, and TikTok. And it just all sort of worked out. And I guess it's easy to believe like things will work out when they always do work out for you. I guess if things didn't work out and I ended up not getting a nice job and I'm not in the position I am today where I have my own apartment, I've got money saved up, I can be on a sabbatical for an entire year. Yeah, if that were the case, then my attitude would be different. But for the most part, things have always just sort of worked out, and I've just sort of trusted that they would work out. It's partly personality. I'm just not someone who is very anxious or worries a lot. Like, yeah, so what? You need to pack the night before. Just sit down and think about it and just start packing the things you need. But in terms of the bigger things in life, I guess some of this comes back to being, quote unquote, that gifted kid in school. The kid who could do things at the last minute and pull things off. And I still am that way. I still am someone who, when the pressure's on, I tend to do some of my best work. I have the ability to work faster than people and work under pressure and still deliver something that's pretty high quality. And I think some people will look at that and say that's what develops like these bad habits. But it's all part of this bigger thing about your personality, right? If you are someone who can pull things off at the last minute, then that'll lend itself to you being more chill and relaxed and I guess sort of free spirited about certain things in life. And you probably feel like, you're probably like me, you just feel like life will just, everything's just going to work out. And it usually does. On the other hand, if you are someone who is more anxious and maybe you do make mistakes from time to time, maybe you do want to be on top of things and make lists and get ahead of them. And there's nothing wrong with that either. So, yeah, I guess maybe that is my toxic trait. It's that I just feel like my approach to life is very easygoing and I don't really force things. I can't really recall a time when I've forced something and had it work out. This idea that you can just put extra energy and extra effort, extra time, money, whatever it is, into something that's not really meant for you or not something that appeals to you or not something that you're good at. I don't recall a situation in life where that has worked out for me. And instead, my approach of being easygoing, taking things as they come, and just sort of trusting that things will always work out in the end. It served me pretty well. Served me pretty well so far in life, at least. So yep, that's all I've got today. Thank you for watching this video and sitting with me while I pack. I will see you in the next video. I will be on vacation, so that will be exciting. I'll show you. Yeah, I think I got some exciting stuff to show. And as always, take care of yourself, and if you can, someone else too. So it is 5 a.m. in the morning, and this is what LaGuardia Airport looks like. It's pretty crazy.